I'm not going to talk about any Colleen Hoover books. It's dark and golden flecked, clash with mine in the mirror before she set the phone aside. It's like staring back at myself, we're so much alike. Skin is smooth and brown as polished walnut. Her hair like mine, prone to coil and curl, always contracting at the slightest bit of moisture in the air. Oh no, I may try. You like drop her right there in my hand. It's like, oh no, Mindy. Hi, hello. How are we doing? Happy February. Happy Black History Month. Happy belated Valentine's Day. Today is February 17th. All right, February 17th. First, well, hello to everyone. Hello to those of you that are new to my book vlog. My name is Rudi, and this is Rudi Reads. I do book content based off of the books that I've read or books that have been recommended to me. And yeah, so today I've decided to, instead of do a February update, to go over the books that I read in 2022. I read last year was my first year, and maybe like four years, like since, because we recently moved, and then before that we moved to another state, and I did very little reading the 4 years that we lived in Mississippi. Before that, when I was in Memphis, the school that I taught at, I was eighth grade teacher. The kids had like select reading time, and the teachers would read too. And I did a lot more reading then than I did when I was in Mississippi. So I did read, but not as much. And then coming this past year, 2022, during my postpartum time, I have a 15-month-old, I picked back up reading, and I read 48 books last year. 48 books. So I'm really proud of that, because I set a goal. I turned 32 last year. I was like, I'm going to read 32 books for year 32. And I met that goal, and a friend of mine, my woe, we call each other, my best friend, she was like, set a new goal. And I was really nervous and anxious about that. I don't know if anyone else is like that, because I accomplished it, my fear was like setting a new goal and not accomplishing it. And then it's like, by the end of the year, it's like, I'm a failure. Reality, you're not a failure. Like, you exceeded your original goal. And then like in my mind, when I set a new goal, it's like, and I miss it, and I'm like, I'm a failure. But I did increase it to like 40. I think it was like 45 or 40. And then boom, hit 48. I never set the goal of 50. I tried to reach 50, but I wasn't able to finish 2 more books just because we were moving. And it was a lot going on. And so I stopped at 48, but yes. So I have my Goodreads account here set up. And so I won't be talking about every book, but I will be talking about a good bit of them. And I also have my Goodreads on my phone because I can't reach my mouse for my computer. And so I want to make sure I can see what my books read, my books. So we're gonna basically skim through and talk about my favorite books of 2022, and not all 48. And honestly, I don't remember all of them. I'm gonna just be straightforward there. I do not remember all of the books that I read. Okay, there we go, 2022. And so this is what, if you have Goodreads, look at that, my year in books. I read 16,059 pages. Doesn't seem like a lot. You're like, oh man, that's it, but that's a lot of pages. So yeah. So my longest book, we'll talk with my shortest and my longest. It's not necessarily what's up here, but I will like change the screen throughout. So my shortest book was Mindy Kaling's Kind of Hindu. You know, her little short books on Audible are really cute and fun. I love Mindy. She's hilarious. She's precious. She's cute. I say that like she's like not older than me and a mature woman, but she's just, I feel like she used to be like a little miniature person. Like just, if I was really good at special effects, I don't know, I may edit it. I may try. You like drop her right there in my hand. It's like, oh, it's little Mindy. But anyways, and so I can't remember the name of the show that she was in. She was they were like OBGYNs, and she had like it was the Mindy Project. I think that was what it was called, the Mindy. I loved that show. It was so funny. But yeah, her books are so cute. I was looking to like their autobiographies, and just looking into her life and different aspects, and just it's cute. I recommend. They're really quick reads. I feel like the ratings range between 3 and 5. I wouldn't necessarily say if I gave a 5-star rating, it's because my reading was still brand new. I promise y'all, I gave so many 5-star ratings last year that it's just didn't make any sense. But anyways, let's get her done. First up, Throne of Glass. So that's on the Throne of Glass. I read with a Goodreads book club. It's the young adult, or I believe book club, A Rainy Day. I enjoyed Throne of Glass. I think I rated it. Let's see. On here, my thing is opposite than that. I rated it 4 stars. I like the concept of her like being an assassin, and you know, like it's just it was good to me. It wasn't all like it was hyped up to be like this is the best book in the whole world. I think it's because as I've gotten older, I'm not really into teen. They're like teenagers, right? Like teen books about teens and their lives to a certain extent. Because on my shelf here, I do have the Crave series, but there's like vampires and werewolves, and I have a soft spot for that. But Throne of Glass was pretty good. I gave that 4 ratings. The 5th season, I talked about the 5th season in my January vlog. I'll link that below. So the 5th season, that was the first book. Then I finished Obelisk Gate and The Stone Sky this year, in past January. N.K. Jemisin, top notch. 5th season is the first book in the Broken Earth series. Highly recommend it. It's fantasy, there's world building, it's amazing. I'm not going to talk about any Colleen Hoover books. I will do a general synopsis. I did enjoy the Colleen Hoover books as I read them. I feel like there's a lot of content out there for Colleen Hoover. And her books. I read It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us, Reminders of Him, Ugly Love, and Variety, or Verity, however it's pronounced. They're good books. I enjoyed them. Since I've moved into, those were my first romance books I ever read. So I dove and I jumped right in. And so I feel like I was like naive to romance books, but then I got a taste of other romance books out there, specifically by Black authors. Once navigating TikTok and learning more about other books. So I just finished Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I have that down here. We'll show it. Before I Let Go. It's a phenomenal book. Yes, it's upside down. There are just some quotes in here that are just, but also I enjoy reading about Black characters. I read all, my books are very, I wouldn't say very diverse. They're mostly one-sided. I have very few by POC books, but I want to change that. Though I do read books by people of color, but it's just describing even like what they look like. So her eyes, dark and golden flecked, clashed with mine in the mirror before she set the phone aside. It's like staring back at myself. We're so much alike. Skin as smooth and brown as polished walnut. Her hair like mine, prone to coil and curl, always contracting at the slightest bit of moisture in the air. Same stubborn chin hinting at a will to match. It's just, it's the little things, it's the little things. And so I did not read that last year, but I read that this year. But it's just, I'm I digress. I digress. All right. So I did read the Colleen Hoover books. They're good. You know, they're good books. I recommend for new romance readers. I feel like more mature romance readers would be like, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Next up. So there was, it starts with us variety, Love on the Brain. That was a book of the month book. I love Love on the Brain. It was so cute. Let's see if I can find it here. It was just precious. It was precious. I enjoy a good, what's it people say? It's not cringe, because there's cringe. Cheesy. I like a cheesy book. I rated it 4 stars. It's just the nerdiness of this and the characters and just that is, I feel like it was a minute part of it all. This is a enemies to friends. I feel like friends to enemies sounds better. I don't know, but they were enemies and then they became friends. Friends. I feel like people say it's a friend. So it's a friend and friends to enemies. Enemies. This is an enemies to friends. This is an enemies to friends book. And it's cute. All right, so I started the Expanse series. If you're not familiar with the Expanse series, that's the James Corey book. James S.S. Corey. The first book is Leviathan Wakes. I'm actually on the second book, and I have not finished it. I started it soon after this, and I got it on Audible. And it's long. These are very long books. It's like 700-800 pages, but there's a lot. You ever see those TikToks when you're reading like a fantasy book and you have no idea what's going on, and then you get to a part and you're like, oh yeah, but you keep reading. It's like that, and I've gotten lost in it, and I may need to restart it. I'm feeling like I need to restart it. But yes, I really enjoyed the first book. I gave it 4 stars. 5 Total Strangers. This one may not be familiar to many people. This is an Audible book that I listened to, and it's about these 5 strangers that meet in an airport. There's a snowstorm. They're young adults, like ranging from like 17 to like 21, and there's a snowstorm and everything's closed, but they really want to get home. And this is point of view of the youngest girl. And she meets a girl on a plane. They sit next to each other. She can tell this girl is rich, and she's like, "You need a ride," so they all get in a car together. And it's their adventure, like trying to get home, and they face all these obstacles, and things start going missing, and they're being followed. It's pretty good. It was pretty good listen. So I enjoyed it. Viola Davis's Finding Me. So I rated this 5 stars. I would technically give it like 4.5, 4.75, only because I think it ended too quickly. Viola Davis is a magnificent author. I think she's a great person from what I can see from, my side of things. And her life story is absolutely heartbreaking and awe-inspiring and encouraging. She went through so much as a child. Her mother went through so much, and how that impacted her. And from there's abuse and poverty. But then it's amazing to see someone like that with so much wealth just doing such great things in the Black community, as a Black actress, as a woman, as a person in general, and just thriving, but has encountered so many obstacles, you guys. Not even just like, when you ever read something, you're like, there's no way this is real. There's absolutely no way. Like, that's like, people allowed that to happen. Like, I really enjoy it. I highly recommend. 5-star book, or 4.75, but it's really good. Again, the only reason I did give it 5 stars on Goodreads, because you can't do partial stars, but it's simply because it ended really quickly. And I was like, oh, it was just she just kept on rolling like this, and this, and then it was done. All right. Next up, The Housemaid. I didn't even realize how popular this book was until I started seeing it everywhere. And so I also read a book called The Maid. So I'm actually going to read a part of the synopsis to get my brain back, to make sure I'm thinking of the correct book. Housemaid 1. Its skills require discretion and the willingness to go the extra mile. Seems like the perfect job. Great wages, accommodations provided, and all located within the walls of Highwood Hall. A stunningly stately home owned by the Howard family. Not many little girls dream of becoming a maid, but this opportunity for me to get back on my feet. Blah, blah, blase, blase. Lord Howard's son Alex takes my interest in me as a former addict. I can find myself drawn to him because I know he's bad for me. Blase, blase. On the first day I received, okay, a serious package. I opened up the pretty box to get a gift. Okay, yeah. So, I gave this book 4 stars. The Housemaid is a thriller. I had no idea like what was going to, it really had me thinking and guessing like who could possibly be like doing this, who's sending this stuff, the little doll houses, there are multiple sent throughout the book. And I kept guessing and I was like, oh, it could be this person or that. And I was like, I really don't trust it. But then even what it turns out to be, you're like, I never would have guessed this is what was happening. And it's crazy. And I also feel like, I don't know, there's some creepy people out in this world. And I could see this happening in real life, but I also watch a great deal of Criminal Minds. So there's that as well. Next up, we have, let's see, The Poet X. Oh, this was good. The Poet X was beautiful. I rated it 5 stars. It's written by Elizabeth. I don't want to say her name incorrectly. Her name is Elizabeth. The main character's name is Xiomara. I think I want to say that's right. But it's with an Xiomara, Batista. And so this is a book by a Black author with Black characters. My review on Goodreads is absolutely beautiful. It's everything you need plus everything you never knew you needed. Poet X understands you. She sees you. She is you. Poet X is both brave and small. She is tough yet afraid. Poet X is all of us going through our youth, listening, learning, laughing, crying, yearning, and confused. This I'll read again and again. I actually want the physical copy of this. I listened to it and I don't regret listening to it. The voice actor or reader did a phenomenal job, especially because there is Spanish in there. And so they're able to articulate that perfectly, give me that like Northeastern, Hispanic community, just like a Latinx community, like just vibe, sorry. And just culture. I really enjoyed that. So Xiomara is a teen girl in high school who writes poetry, and it's just beautiful. Just really learning about herself in a very religious family, and trying to navigate like youth. And it's great. She's finding her voice and just everything that encompasses that. So I really enjoyed it. Even talking about it, I think changed the way I spoke. It's a weird thing that we do. All right. New Kid is a graphic novel. Jerry Craft is a Black author. Absolutely love it. It's about this kid. He's going to school where diversity is very low. He's in like a private school type setting. I want to say it's a private school. And he's the only Black kid there. No, he's not. He's one of the few Black kids there, or even person of color in general. And it just goes through. It's funny, but it's also sad because it's also true that you see ways in which people treat people of color different, unintentionally almost. That's just how they speak to you. There's a teacher in there that like can never get his name right, confuses him with another like Black student. It's like we don't look anything alike. Like one kid's like clearly also heavier, I think, and they still like never get his name right. And it's just, it's funny, but it's also, I feel like it's extremely informative in a sense, like culture, just showing how just when you being, the minority either which way in a especially in a school setting, can just how it impacts children. And so I highly recommend New Kid. I did read the ACOTAR series. I'm spinning. The ACOTAR series last year. I did enjoy them. I gave the first book 5 stars. Excuse me. The Court of Frost and Starlight. That's not the last book, I want to say. But I did not like it that I decided not to keep reading. I gave it 2 stars. I was like, ugh. I'm not reading the. Oh yeah, I said I'm not reading the last book, Wings and Ruin. Towards the end, it started to cause me to lose interest in the series. I think I just read them too fast. But Mist and Fury was my favorite. I really enjoyed it. I did not read of Silver Flames. I just was done with the series. I think too that I think someone said that like it could have ended at 3, but then she went with 4 and 5. Let me know if you're the same way. But did you finish? Did you finish the series? I don't know. It wasn't for me. Carry on. I'm looking. I guess it does look like I'm looking at my screen. I am looking at my computer screen, but I digress per usual. Then I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. That one was really popular. I gave it 5 stars. So informative of just what child actors go through. If you were a Sam and Cat or a iCarly fan, like these are things you just never would have guessed, that kids are going through. And you're like, I remember I wanted so badly to be a Disney Channel actress growing up. Like I so bad. And I'm just like, would my parents have turned into something like this? Like it's just it's really good. She really gives us a good look at just the behind the scenes and what it's like. Pachinko by Min Jin Lee was really good, but it was rough. There was a lot of sadness. I gave it 5 stars simply because it was a lot of sadness. I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it, because I did. But the amount of misfortune was overwhelming for me as a reader. I am normally a fantasy sci-fi reader because realistic fiction, specifically family dramas, is often triggering for me, so it's difficult for me to fully enjoy it. Also, I felt very disconnected from the characters. It was as if I was reading a summarized storyline for a future TV show. Better yet, it was like I sat down and received a brief overview of 4 generations of family history. It was a lot going on. Absolutely a lot. I never truly connected with the characters. I was sad and not upset, but I was disheartened by the things that they were facing. But it was good. It was good, but it was just, I felt so sad, and I don't like to be sad like that when I'm reading. There are books you're like, oh, different parts, but it was throughout. It was like one misfortune after another. So yeah. Unglued is the blue book with the little, what is that on there? It's a person with a bag or a purse over their head. So Unglued. Ooh. You probably can see that. There we go. Unglued by Lisa TerKeurst. This is a Christian book. I am a Christian. I do read Christian books. I don't record myself doing my devotionals in Christian books because I want to make sure that I stay focused, and social media and recording can take a large bit of my focus. And I want to make sure that I'm focused on reading and studying when I am. But I highly recommend her to all. Unglued is a book about just when you are falling apart, when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're having outbursts, when you're embarrassed, etc. It says making wise choices in the midst of raw emotions. I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite books by her is It Was Not Supposed to Be This Way. And I read that in the midst of like severe depression and trying to work my way out of it. And it helped a great deal. It's just, if you're someone like me that have very high expectations for life and what you want to do and where you want to go and what you think, what you desire, the way you want things to go a certain way, but they don't, and you get easily derailed. It Was Not Supposed to Be This Way by Lisa TerKeurst is a definite read. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. The Cruel Prince. So this, I gave it 3 stars. Everyone really likes this book. I read this one for a book club as well. And, it was generally enjoyable for me. I love Fae worlds, but this world was underdeveloped. I never was truly able to imagine fairy and truly put myself in the story. The plot is relatively weak and not very appealing. There are moments of excitement and anticipation, but they were short and far between. I don't plan to continue this series, but I'm not upset that I gave it a go. And that's actually a lie. I read this back in August of last year. I'm going to read the next book. It was like The Wicked Something, and I just got it on Libby. I said The Wicked Something. It is The Wicked King. I'm going to give it a go again, and maybe I'll enjoy it more. Tell me if you didn't enjoy the first one and you enjoy the rest of the series. Tell me, please, 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 please. And this right here is a surprise read for my February TBR because it became available on Libby. Otherwise, I would have waited till March. All right. The Girl with the Louding Voice. Yes. It took me a minute to get through this book, but it's because I was reading so many things that I just kind of like pushed it aside. But once I like got it like focused on it and to the plot, it was really good. It tells the story of a young girl in Africa who is just, going through it. Just life is really difficult. She's married off, treated horribly. Then she's sold off to like housekeep, and just tells the journey of her life. She really likes education. She wants to be a teacher, and it's good. It's very sad. There's some tragedy in it, but it's good. It's written like a person that the English is not their first language, and so it's very real in that sense. It's great. Definitely, it's a 5-star read. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, yes. Moving on. This is Pat Louie. Say hey. Say hey. I don't like to read. I have his door closed where his food and things are because that's where the laundry is. But anyways, more Mindy Kaling. So we have the Crave series. I started the third book, but I have not finished it. If you're like, what's the Crave series? This is the third book. So Court. So there's Crave, Crush, Court, Covet, and then Court. And they're hefty books. This is going to be, this is my March TBR. Down here on the second row, but I'll finish that. I enjoyed them. High schoolers. These are high schoolers in a special high school where they're dragons, people that transform into dragons. What do they call that? When you transform, they don't call them transformers. Shapeshifters, vampires, werewolves, witches, all different types of mythical creatures. And so I really like that. And so it tells the story of a girl who goes there, who's human, but her uncle is the headmaster or whatever. And so she has to go to the school because her parents pass away, die in a car accident. And so she's a human in a school of mythical creatures. Not mythical creatures. What am I thinking? I want to call them downworlders because I also am Mortal Instruments. I read that a long time ago, but I'm fan. But yes, carrying on. Let's carry on. Louis like, yes, please. All right, Bloodline. Yeah, it was fine. The Guest List. I enjoyed that. That's a thriller. The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Never guessed who done it. This is a who done it. There's a bunch of guests on an island in a mansion. And it's like, who done it? And it's going through all the guests. I really enjoyed it. The Sisters is also another thriller. It's Audible only. I think I gave that 4 stars. Yep, I did. It was good. But again, carrying on. I started reading the Witcher series. I love The Witcher. I have the Witcher 3 game. I've watched The Witcher. I'm sad about The Witcher, getting a new Witcher. But whatever. It happens. Life goes on. Blood of Elves, The Last Wish. The Last Wish is a half, I think. Yep, it's The Witcher 0.5 prequel. And then Blood Elves is the first one. And then I have the second, which reminds me I need to put that on my March TBR shelf. So yeah. All right. And then I also read Passing. It's a quick read by Nella Larson. Definitely recommend it. I gave it 4 stars though, but it was still a really good book. Tells the story of a biracial woman that makes a decision to pass in the world as a white woman. Read it. It's great. It's good. I gave it 4 stars because it was so short that you're almost like it ends too fast. I usually when I really enjoy a book and I give it 4 stars, it's usually somewhere in the plot development that like it fails and you're like kind of left almost like frustrated, like, oh, what happened? Is that it? It's like boom, it ends. And you're like, that was not a good ending. Like you could have gone like another 20-30 pages and then finished it. But anyways. I started reading Andy Weir last year. I read Project Hail Mary this year. That's in my January vlog. I read Randomized. It was fine. I would give it 3.5 stars, but it was enough for me to keep looking into Andy Weir and actually listen to that with my husband. And that was, those are 2 other books that are not on the screen. As you see them, they're like underneath that last row, but that's fine. And then I read The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding because I had a baby. And that was a good book too. I recommend that to breastfeeding mamas or spouses of breastfeeding women, to give you the knowledge and understanding of the journey that they go through and how it is both difficult but rewarding and beneficial. All right. And that's it. That is my 2022 book list. I read 48 books. I listened to maybe like 60% on Audible of those books. And then the rest, only maybe a handful were physical books. And then the rest were on my Kindle. And I used the Kindle app last year. My Kindle's downstairs, but my Kindle I just got this year for Christmas. So I got it in December. I got myself a Kindle for Christmas, my own present. And so this year I've been focusing a lot on reading my physical TBRs. But let me know if any of these books that you've read or you plan on reading this year. And let me know what you think. All right. And stay tuned for my next vlog where we'll be talking about the books I read in February, or seeing how far I've gotten so far. Actually, I think we have another week and a half in this month. Yeah. All right, so yep, stay tuned for my weekly vlog. If you haven't seen, I've posted a reading vlog with campfire and fire and rain sounds, campfire and rain sounds. So be sure to check that out. Leave that on the background in your office. Again, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out my book talk that is brand new. Follow me on there. I'll follow you back. Let's support each other. And I hope everyone has a great week. Peace, love, and read a book.